Good evening, everyone. It is May 23rd, 2023. Let's get right into it, starting off with the ES. That 4188 level finally giving to the downside. That number has been key since February. Hell, even these 70s have been key since going back to August of last year. Now, on the weekly time frame, what I had said was that ideally we hold 4188 and start turning that 4218 into support and then get into 4275. We did hold bid at 4188 at pretty much Sunday's open, the Globex Open. The next session, Monday's RTH around 10 a.m. during that kind of liquidation-y move, and then we spent pretty much all day holding that 88-ish number before finally liquidating down. Now I said 41.63 to 69 was an acceptable back test. We got down a little bit lower than that, but we are churning around that 63 number now. So my idea is, are we going to reclaim where we had this second breakout on Thursday, or are we going to come back to the original breakout where we've done all of the volume this month at 37.5? Are we going to come down there? And actually, I want to move this down by a couple ticks because that is a more correct number. There are also smaller, intraday, a smaller number right around 44 is where we built up the volume prior to the immediate breakout. So this is the number I'm watching. Are we going to come into here, hold bid, and get back above these 60s? Or are we going to hold it during the overnight, reclaim this, and then move back up towards this kind of 88 to 94 area? So in terms of trades, how am I looking at this? Let me get this on a different screen, this other chart. There we go. Now, we had a low close on every ticker, ES, NQ, and YM. And these closes, by low close, I mean outside value area low, below the first standard deviation of VWAP. So to me, if you have a situation where Globex cannot reach that previous day's low, today's low of the day, you're likely seeing players who are going to be offside and squeezed in the morning upwards. So I'm going to be aware of that and ideally trade with that. Now, in terms of trades, I don't want to be doing these ones. Ideally, hopefully, we can just trade these guys. I want a long at 37.5, that being the monthly point of control, above 44 and 3/4. This auction we had, which was balancing above the overnight highs of that session. Where the hell are the overnight highs? Right around here, that 44 number. Oh yeah, it was the 44 number. So we balanced right above that overnight high and then just took off. So I want to be long 44s as well. If we get a gap down scenario, I want to be short the 4 p.m. close, this 58 number. There we go. I want to be short here. Otherwise, also coinciding with roughly the overnight open or the overnight low right now, whatever that is. Otherwise, if we do not get that, I want to be long 58s. If we do not gap down, I want to be long 58s after tagging this 55-ish number, 55/4, just being the key area of interest. I was bid there and didn't get filled at that 240-ish time. After 230, I was bid there. Above, I want to be long 64 and 3/4. It seems to be a critical level as well as pretty much where we held support during this Wednesday session during the RTH, where we kind of found a bid during the pre-market and into the RTH open. I think that was our RTH low of the day. Let me just check. Yes, 64 3/4 to the tech. So if we get a tag of that previous day's close, so today's RTH close at 58s, and if we hold it, I want to take 64s long for a move back up towards here, the VWAP close, 77.5. This is where our average price from today's session will be. I want to be short here above. I want to be short somewhere in this chunk here, this chunk of whatever it was, 3 hours of chop. 88s have been just the critical number to watch for so long. It's been a little bit fuzzy here, but this has been my key area of interest. Above there, 91s are the second spot I would be looking to get short, just settlement lows where we definitely have offside inventory, and 94s finally, the point of control from today's session. Above there, not too interested in it. I've got these written out, but honestly, I don't think I'll be looking to trade them. I'm going to delete these actually. So really just looking to trade this 60-ish point range. Not too interested in anything else. Now, let's move on to the next ticker, the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq Now coming down to these August highs, we are not in trouble. This is exactly what I was looking for in the weekly plan, that we are not in trouble until we get down below this 350-ish number, and that's why I had 350-ish as the pivot. So right now we're holding this kind of 730 number right around the August highs. We're just kind of dilly-daddling around there. An ideal scenario would be that we hold this 740, start moving back up towards that 850-ish number where we had the weekly open and the open drive upwards. I think that's also where we closed roughly, perhaps. Oh man, too many screens. Uh, yes, where we closed roughly, where we had the weekly point of control, where we opened the week, all that sort of stuff right around that 850-ish number. That also being right where we churned around this morning before we finally lost that open drive from yesterday's RTH session up there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down to 653 and 3/4. That has been where we've had the low of the week for 3 weeks. Every week we've been having that average price defended. Now I did mention yesterday that yesterday was the first day that we actually, slipped around the prior day's VWAP close. So yesterday was giving a little bit of sign that we were not being as aggressive defending average prices. Now, if we similarly on a higher time frame, if we slice through 653s, we know that okay, they're not defending average prices on a weekly time frame. It's getting a little bit more aggressive to the downside. So how am I looking to trade this? Not too dissimilar. Looking to get long 711s after a tag of 705, where we had this offside inventory from Thursday's session, I believe. Yes, that would just be getting long roughly right around previous day's low, today's low of the day. Above there, if we get no tag of the low of the day during this overnight session, I want to be long 725s, that being the close roughly and the 95% value area low from today's session. And above there, if we get a clear of the 755, so if we do even open above 755, I want to be long 740s, that August swing high. Above, same ideas, yes, getting short the VWAP close. 822s have been a critical number. You can see them being nice swing high, swing lows over here. I even offered some resistance during this external trading hours open drive, and I just have liked that 822 to 24 number. That is now our sorry, no, not our settlement lows, but that is the first standard deviation of last week's VWAP, and above there getting short at settlement lows at roughly the weekly open, at roughly last week's point of control, and our current weekly VWAP. uh, so that's what I'm looking for on the short side. I'm not too interested. Okay, I would consider that 908 short perhaps, but really looking at this to the downside, last week's VWAP closed at 653 and 3/4, also where we had pretty much our open drive. Yes, that is an RTH low of the day, right at that VWAP close. Below there, want to be long from the point of control where we had a distributive point of control from Wednesday's session. So I'm sure there are some offside players right around there. That is also where we closed at 645. Below there, 578 is a VWAP close where I want to see a quick bid. 564s being the right, it's hard to see, but that is pretty much where we auctioned before the huge breakout on Wednesday. And below there, 554.5, right below yearly value area high, matching these Tuesday high of the day. That's all I'm looking for on the downside. So still aggressively playing bid on the Nasdaq. Now, our final chart for the day, the Dow. The Dow did what I wanted it to do today. I was looking for some short covering. Perhaps we should go to the biggest chart here. Still churning around this major pivot right around these December lows, right where we had these kind of swing highs during March before reclaiming it, and now it's starting to look like we're going to flush downwards. So that is the overall big picture on the Dow. Bit of an ugly chart, but I want to mainly be focusing on this here. A low of the week created on May 4th, a second low of the week held slightly higher, and currently holding this low of the week slightly higher than that. So we are holding the lows pretty well, but it is notable that every day we've been having lower highs. So the Dow is so far not looking so hot. Coming into today, what I was looking for was a cover up to kind of this 360-ish area, whatever it was. Let me pull up another chart on a different screen. Yes, recovers to roughly the previous day's close and value area low. That is what I was looking for. I was hoping to get short just a little bit higher, right around the previous day's point of control, and VWAP closes right around that 390-ish number. However, going into tomorrow, what I'll be looking for is I don't actually want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be short here. What I want to do looking for tomorrow is if in the event we are bid. Today I took 112 long, I believe, after a run of this low. I took that 112 long for 40 on paper, as I'm new to this. What I want to see is a hold of that same number, that 112. After we hold it, take 120 long and see, just like on ES and NQ, if we don't tag this previous day's low, that's what I'm looking for on this trade. I want to take it long for a move back towards kind of this 270-ish area. And that's where I'd expect shorts, that being the settlement lows. Above there, getting short 357, the point of control where we distributed any sort of inventory that was short. This was just covering from that gap down and that trend down, and a build of short positions before moving down lower. So I want to see these shorts defending their price at 357. Above here, this is the level I had yesterday, 458. I want to take it short after a run of this overnight high, or 487s where the open drive from Tuesday's RTH session failed, or 562s where that distributive point of control was set. To the downside, I want to be long 33,020, that being roughly near the weekly low from a few weeks back, from whatever it was, 1 or 2 weeks back. Yeah, about 2 weeks back. That is where we had some inventory build up before the launch higher. So I want to be long 33,020. Below there, I want to be long 943, the yearly point of control after a tag of the third standard deviation of last week's VWAP. So that's what I'm looking for. Good God, this is a long video, 11 and almost 12 minutes. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. Hope it's not too slow. 3 tickers. So far, all I'm working. Have a great night and trade safe.